Robinson. Rozier. Dorothy, to start with that?
I'm
happy to use it too.
It's for recording so that when later people play the meeting.
Why don't we give it a brief introduction and then Trudy can
Sure.
give.
We'll introduce the topic first. Speak.
So the Atherton Arts Foundation has been
this
interested in. It's on.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
it's
everyone,
on.
okay. I'm happy to be here today on behalf of the Atherton Arts Foundation. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, can we, yeah,
This is
staff
Swati Advani.
wants to introduce the topic. Just give it a brief intro and then you can talk about your.
Okay. So I'm Swati Advani, and I'm here to talk about the proposal for.
Can we let,
Oh, sorry. Okay.
yeah.
All right. Sorry. Didn't know the rules.
That's okay. Not a problem. So the Atherton Arts Foundation does have some art upstairs in the main house and has been interested in expanding the art displays and art programs upstairs in the main house. Over the course of the last year, staff has installed tracks and the ability to hang art displays in the main house with the ability to actually change out some of the art. So it's a little easier not having to nail things into the wall, et cetera. And so the Atherton Arts Foundation actually worked with Rick DeGolia to put together a proposal with regards to how they can manage and showcase additional art upstairs in the main house.
Okay.
And so that proposal is attached in your package. And then we have the Atherton Arts Foundation here to kind of walk through their proposal. And then, so what we are looking for is review and recommendation from the Park and Rec Committee with regards to a potential program for art displays upstairs in the main house that would then be carried forward to the City Council.
Okay, very good. Please go ahead.
I'm Swati Advani, and I'm representing the Atherton Arts Foundation today. And you have our proposal already, but I thought I could just sort of briefly run through it to make the points, and then happy to take any questions from you if you have any of the answers. So I think the proposal got put together because we did have access to the main house and went ahead and hung art that was donated by artists, which technically belonged to us. And then we found that some of the renters were abusing the art. They had leaned equipment against the art. They taken art off the walls and just left it on the floor, just basically showing disrespect. So we thought that it might be helpful to put a proposal together so that everyone's kind of aware of the issues and come together with a plan that would work for both the administration of the town, for the artists whose work it is, well as just us as citizens, stakeholders of the Atherton town. So idea to put the art up to begin with was to upgrade the look and feel of the space. Um, Basically, it may be topics of conversation for people coming in so that the conversation then revolves around art. Um, some part of the art was to help depict the town's history, which was actually placed in one of the rooms so that it highlighted as a part of the town's history, artifacts that we had from them. And finally, no art is worthwhile unless it's on a wall. So I think we artists a service as well by giving them an opportunity to put the art up on the wall. So the idea of this art is supposed to be static. We're not planning to move it around too much. Maybe if we get an additional piece of donation, then switch things out. But idea is not to have it keeping on rolling over, just to have it there and to stay. Basically, the art, if it's something that the town would not like or has a specific objection to, we're happy to discuss and take it off. What we're willing to do for each piece of art, which was not done before, so that the renters also are aware that it's a piece of art. It's not just $40 thing someone picked up and put on the wall, is to describe the art, the artist, and maybe together come up with a way to identify the piece of art. You know. And basically the main thing is prioritize art with the historical relationship to the. That's a whole separate thing in a separate room. And again, we're happy to work with the town to see how best we can have it shown to its greatest advantage. So needless to say, we are the owners of the art and will stay the owners of the art because it's in addition to the Atherton Arts Foundation. What we'd like to do is, in addition, perhaps do some mini art shows in that main house to just sort of create curiosity and interest in the town about art and Atherton artists. If we should go ahead with that idea, then we would, just like any other renter, go through normal required rental agreement with the town, make sure that the dates that we take don't, clash with any other rental options they may have. And then obviously some access to the main house while we are working with the art in that scenario. So that's basically our proposal. And we just want it to be great for the town, great for the administration, and great for Atherton Arts. That's what the purpose of this. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Are there any questions from?
Art shows I've seen have all been at Jennings Pavilion. Why would this be?
So Jennings Pavilion, I think one of the things I realized was it takes resources from the town to set it up. And so basically the town gets all of our screens over to Jennings. They're also responsible for providing and setting up the tables, chairs, all the rest of it. And then those have to be kind of mega art shows. And we were finding, particularly post-COVID, that we weren't getting the kind of response to those art shows that we used to pre-COVID. So the idea of doing mini art shows came up because then it's a cozier space. show 3 or 4 artists at a time, or maybe more depending on the amount of work there is. And it would be beneficial to the town as well as to us.
Yeah, I just want to interject. I think that there's and maybe you can clarify after I make comments. I think that there's two different distinctions. And so if we look at, for example, the art displays here that we have at the town center, the Atherton Arts Foundation works with the artists and they have a display that is up for several months. And what they've done is host a little artist reception associated with the stuff that's up. And so it was my understanding that we'll have some predominantly static displays, but then there'll be a few pieces that rotate in and out of, no?
No,
Okay,
that's not.
so,
May I when you're done, I'll clarify
Yeah,
the
okay.
different
So
shows.
the impression they had, the way that this was written, was that they would showcase some of the art that is up on the walls. And they can, per our designated groups, they're able to reserve and rent and have their showcase. Based on what I'm hearing tonight, in addition to that, they'd like to host separate mini art shows that have additional displays, which again, they're able to do as a designated group. It's just a matter of what that setup and requirements are. But the predominant item is to be able to put their fixed displays up on the wall and have a, for lack of a better way to put it, a program associated with it. And so with that, they.
Yeah, okay, for clarification, and I'll add the past to what our vision is. Think 3 distinctly different, very, very different art shows. When I first started Atherton Arts Foundation, when I first joined it, Ted and Betty Ullman had a one-night deal with their friends, and Atherton Arts paid for it all. Intersect Dorothy Hunter talking to the artists, saying, why do we do all of this work for one night? So we then changed it to a Friday night, all day Saturday, and all day Sunday. And it was in Jennings Pavilion, and it was probably 8 to 12, 14 different artists. That's a lot of work. A lot of work.
Yeah,
a lot
not
of
just
work.
for us, but for the town as well.
Right. And the artists kind of, they liked it. They were pretty well attended at any given time, not counting Friday night, because that became the private artists and their select group showing. So they ended up bringing wine and cheese and crackers and stuff. And so and there were probably 150 people there. But during the Saturday and Sunday at any given time, there would be 10 to 45 people there. The low would be like 10, and that would be when it first opened, but it would average up into the 40s. Okay, that is one distinct animal. Now we're going to go to the barn and get another animal. And that animal is what is in the town center. That the town, George actually reached out to me after the town center was built and said, will Atherton Arts Foundation be in charge of having a variety of artists show their work? So it's about quarterly. We change artists. We change the themes in the lobby and the upstairs area. Those artists, if they so choose, put on their own like reception. Some have said yes, some have said no, they don't want to.
They donate the art?
The art
The
is
lend-
not
sorry,
donated.
lend the art.
That is their art. That's animal number 2. Animal number 3, not the art you see in the town center, not the art at Jennings Pavilion. This is brand new. It is upstairs of the main house. And I contacted between 20 and 25 Atherton artists. 18 to 22 were so excited about donating a piece of art to Atherton Arts Foundation to be shown permanently in the main house. The reason we did that was because some artists approached us with pictures that they had drawn of the park and said, hey, do you want this? Well, I'm not going to say no to an original piece of art. So that is what started the idea of this permanent art display. I don't know if any of you had been in the main house previously, but they were faded pictures from probably Home Depot or something with the plastic resin pictures. We have filled it. I don't know if any of you noticed it when we did our walkthrough with pictures from some pretty well-known nationwide, internationally known artists who live in Atherton. I have talked to these artists. They would love to have more of their work shown just because they are residents and they are in this town and they want to share their passion with the town. And that is what has developed the idea of these mini shows, which would be like a Friday and a Saturday because there are permanent renters on Sunday mornings, right?
At this time,
Yeah. And so what that would mean is that I am not up for it every month. I don't have that kind of bandwidth, but maybe quarterly, maybe every other month, have a little sign, just sandwich board that says Art Show History Tour. And we work with the, like maybe 2 or 3 artists that are already in the main house so they can show like a dozen pieces of their work. And then we have one of the former bedrooms where we have artifacts and artwork donated from the Holbrook Palmer family, artifacts from the Holbrook Palmer family, and artwork that has been originally made of the Palmers sitting out by their mansion. And let people see it. We have certificates of achievement from Mr. Holbrook from the city. And one of the ulterior motives of this is that there are many Atherton residents who don't even know the main house exists, let alone been in the main house. And so if we open it and we advertise it, we're going to get boots on the ground. Boots on the ground and inside that room means potential rentals.
The shows last.
As I said, they'd be like a Friday and a Saturday.
2 days.
Yeah, they are not, no, because these artists have lives. I have a life. Yeah.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Right.
Now it'd be
Well,
Friday, Saturday.
I would like
They
it
have-
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but I don't know where the Sunday meeting would go. I know they have various facilities in the park, and I don't know if they can join them once a quarter or not. Question?
The artists have an exclusive on the Friday night as before, where they would.
I don't know. That's up to the artists, and we have to get a roundtable and discuss that with the artists, is what they would prefer.
I mean, would you do that like you do here?
I would be happy to. Yes, I would. Yeah. But then it has, okay, if we do that, the hours need to be cleared because just like in Jennings Pavilion, it went into past sundown. And so that must all be done and the police department must be told so they know. And I don't mind doing that. They've always been very gracious with that as long as they know that there's a reason why these cars are in the park.
That would occur when the park is technically closed.
Part of it, and even in the, no, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, it depends on the time of year. So, but definitely the cleanup would be sundown. So sundown rotates through the time of the year, so the hours of darkness would be depending on the season. So you have to think three very, very distinct, different shows. We kind of want to wean away from the big mega show, as Swati said, at the pavilion, just because the amount of work it is. Right, Will? He's
Not
the
just
one-
the amount of work, but the amount of, I think,
just-
attendance and just
It's just a
disappointment from
lot.
the artists. And
It's a lot.
I think it's been more pre-COVID, post-COVID. I don't know that Dorothy.
Well, we've only
Lovely.
had one, I think, post-COVID.
that
Well,
too.
because we've had 2 or 3 with Earth Day. That doesn't count. That's a totally different animal. That's just a 1 4-hour chunk. But the art shows, it's just, because I felt that the last big one a year ago, spring, was very, very well attended. In fact, we had artists we had to turn away who wanted to show. And word gets out that we're having one, and several artists are clamoring for it. So there is a plethora of artists to show, but I want to make it more like a tighter local group that people know their grandmothers, people know their kids, that type of thing. But we'll see.
Yeah, but I mean, that's an idea that we're floating now. The thing that we wanted to hone down on was that want this to be static art display in the main house. And we wanted to ensure that none of that art was purposefully destructed. That was, those were the main reasons. And then the idea of doing the mini shows would also seem to be a good
Yeah.
time to introduce the idea.
And we thought it was a good substitute for the 2 mega shows that we did. There used to be just one, then we did 2, and 4 small, maybe more intimate, and hopefully it will result in the upstairs being rented also.
But clearly the artists own the mini shows and they'll be taking it away. Artists own their art that's in the town center, take it away. But the art, no, I'm not mixing it. I'm just making sure that it's clear that the only art that Atherton Arts Foundation owns and is responsible is what is in the main house right now on the wall.
Is there insurance for the art? Is that going to be borne by the artist or?
Atherton Arts is in the process of doing it. One of the
Yes.
problems is I don't have access to the upstairs any longer. And that may hinder some of the insurance issues, is that I can't go up and check at it in without creating an inconvenience for me or an inconvenience for Will. And so that I've been talking to our insurance lady, and we would be insuring the art. But also ensuring the art, it's ours, it's, we would like written into the renter's agreement that they do not touch, move, take down, lean things up against, put things in front of the artwork, but to show, as Swati said, respect for the art and not abuse it. We have had tables leaned up against original artwork, metal tripods leaned up against the artwork taken off and put on the floor. Why? You'll have to ask the people who did it.
Swati mentioned protecting the artwork in this new proposal. Is it because it'll be added to the rental agreements that?
That's what we're hoping.
Okay.
That's the idea on the proposal, to add it to the rental agreement.
And then could the town, if it decides, some piece of art it objects to for whatever reason? Okay. I just had a question about the policy approval process. So what's being asked of the committee is we approve this and it'll go to council? Is that?
Yes.
This has not yet been approved by the entire board of
Okay,
Atherton Arts, which should be what, in the next week or two, we're going to have another board meeting.
okay.
Yeah, as far as taking it to council, obviously, we would wait until we get feedback from the board. In the interim, we'll probably take a close look at our rental agreements and see if what kind of modifications might be needed. And so if it's going to take them a couple of weeks, I would anticipate that it'll go to council next month.
So unless there's changes coming back to this committee.
I don't think so. I
Okay.
think that the way that it's presented is a slight variation from my understanding. The way that I would look at it is really what we are talking about is the more related to the static display. As far as the artist shows go, I'll call it a rental, even though they don't have to pay for it. They can reserve the space per the designated group policy to have whatever event they want. And so I distinguish the two because the committee doesn't necessarily need to approve their use of the space as the Arts Foundation. So it's more related to the static display policy. And if it is more static than dynamic, then it makes things easier.
It is a static display on the walls. 1, 2, 3, 4th paragraph on the back of the first page, you can read how we will work with the event coordinator, the event planner, to be sure that there is not like an engagement party, a wedding reception, something like that. We will adjust our dates to accommodate anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I thought when you were giving your brief comments that you said that the artists would pay rent to put the art up on the wall. Did I misunderstand that?
No, so the first round is that the clarity is that the Arts Foundation will own all of the art that are permanently displayed on the main house walls. Separate
Unless
from,
they're donated to the town. There's
or
some
donated.
historic
So
art
it's
that would
either,
be the town.
it's either town or Arts Foundation.
Right,
Not private works.
right.
Separate from that, the Arts Foundation peers would like to have small art shows upstairs in the main house where they would put up, not on the walls.
We have freestanding screens. Have all of you been to an art show?
Yeah, so.
Yeah, those would sit in the middle of the rooms.
Yeah, so they would put their screens and other things and display arts from Atherton artists and others, mini art show. And
So
yeah,
that's art in addition to what's on the wall.
in addition to what's on the walls, and those would be put up and taken down as
But-
part of their
But they're
Sure.
not being sold. They're it's just
just
display.
display.
Okay, being sold, that is between the artist and the clients. Atherton Arts takes no commission. What they always have done in the past at the Jennings Pavilion is they will have a price list in a notebook. And if someone's interested in the piece, they will talk to the artist, they will open the notebook and discuss it, and then they do not take it off the wall and walk out with it like a craft store show. We don't want that, but then it's a private transaction between the buyer and the artist. Isn't that how it's always
That's
worked,
correct.
Swati? Yeah.
That's correct. We don't actually encourage the artists to claim that they're selling the art, but in the end,
We don't advertise this as an art sale.
advertise
with-
it as an art show.
show. But many people will go up to an artist and say, may I buy one of your pieces? I've never sold mine. I give them away. And people say, well, I want to buy that. I want to buy that. And I just say, no, they're not for sale. But other artists, this is their livelihood, but they are professional artists and they live in the town of Atherton. They have donated a piece to the Atherton Arts Foundation to be on permanent display in the main house. And they may say, visit my website and take a look and see if you see something you like. If they're at one of these mini shows, that's done privately between the buyer and the artist. Does that make sense? Yeah. And like we said, Atherton Arts does not encourage, but we don't say you can't. We've never been told we can't do it that way. And we want it to be done tactfully and tastefully, not like out on Santa Cruz Avenue.
I just have a question about something about for event rentals. In other words, if we rent the upstairs of the main house, you're saying that we can't, if somebody puts something up,
That's the renter's responsibility.
But-
They are not to touch that.
Dorothy?
but can they put something up that might obstruct it for the day?
If it's just theirs and it's not touching the artwork, sure, but we don't want to store things up there
Understand.
that,
But
yeah.
I'm saying if we rented it for,
They may have an umbrella up
That's
there
what I'm
for a
saying, or
baby
whatever.
or a bunch
Okay.
of balloons.
I just
Oh,
want to make sure
yeah.
I wasn't
Yeah.
misunderstanding that, so.
No, and if they have like a TV monitor or
Yeah.
something that obstructs the,
For the day or whatever, okay,
That's
all right,
it shouldn't hurt the artwork
good.
purpose.
Do people do presentations in that main room? Where they need a screen to project?
They should have, but they took the artwork off the walls and put them on the floor. So I don't know how that was resolved.
Going forward is.
No, the screen that the town has is in Jennings Pavilion.
Okay, so,
Yeah, well, there's, if I recall correctly, I think we have a TV screen in the main house that they
Okay.
can wheel out.
okay,
And so they can wheel that out and do displays on that if they want to bring a screen
Yep.
and a projector, they can do that. We don't have a projector and screen in the main house, but we do have a TV monitor that's of a decent size that they can use.
okay. And it won't interfere with the
No,
artwork?
like
Okay.
I said, I think the better way to describe the concern is that basically the Arts Foundation wants to protect the art and
Yeah.
doesn't want anybody to touch the art and
Understand.
the frame. And so if somebody's having a meeting or event, they're not there for the artwork. And what if they've put up a screen in front of it or
That's allowed.
whatever?
Okay.
It's
Yeah, yeah,
fine. I
okay.
mean, so
That's-
we don't
Absolutely.
anticipate that the static displays affect rentals.
So maybe in the agreement with the renters, it's spelled out specifically, don't.
That's what they're asking, and that's what we will take a look at.
I was confused about, on temporary basis, if that's
No,
a problem.
think what it is basically, please don't touch.
Yeah, I
the art.
understand,
Yeah.
but I just was, okay.
Are there any other questions?
Oh, on the historical relationship, they would be in the bride's room, front room, like.
You
we
have
now?
to define the words bride's room. I call it the room by the front door and the room with the bay window.
Right,
Um,
where we have
That's
historical
historically
items already.
been the
Right,
bride's
right,
room.
and we've added quite a bit to it. And the Wheatons have boxes that we are going to be going through. They have more artifacts, dishes, pictures, that type of thing. But we want to center that with Holbrook Palmer things. And it's the front room where the brown leather couch is.
That's enough space, you think?
We'll find out.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I'm enthusiastic about encouraging people. They come there, learn as you, about the park. So the more I think we can, main room, off we are. And you say that some of the artists have painted parts of the park, they've done like that. I'd be very impressed if we could put those in the main, because what I'm looking for is encourage back and rent facilities Oh, we don't really have an event planner like all help.
Atherton Arts likes to think of ourselves as ambassadors to the park. I spend a lot of time downstairs in the art room, and I would dare say 90% of the time I'm in that room, someone comes and knocks on the door and says, "Hey, tell me about this park. Tell me about this building. What is this all about? What is the art? What is this art classes? Whose park is this?" They are very curious about the park. And so, yes, there are going to be things written about the park, about the Holbrook family and the Palmer family in the upstairs.
But I think right now the collection that we have very comfortable at one step acquiring a lot more. We can always think about adding to it.
Are there any public comments? Seeing none? Is there any other discussion that the committee wants on this topic? Is there a motion to approve?
I move to approve
I have a second.
What's the, exactly.
that if there's approval by the board, that it would go to the city council and doesn't need to come back to us. It's approved by the,
So-
by the Arts Council.
Well, I would add to that contingent upon the town. Rental agreement, the fact that they will have to have, at night, park is closed. In other words, just so the town approves details. We're not going to see this. So-
Yeah,
And you
unless
said you
unless there's a major change.
Proposal
Right.
subject to resolution, insurance issue.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
do you accept Walt's
Yes.
amendment?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Do I have a second? Frank, seconds, okay. Is there any other discussion or not, we can vote? We need to do a roll call or can we do a group vote? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any nays or abstentions? It's up to you. Well,
We'll just get you later with a conflict of interest lawsuit. It's okay.
Dorothy abstains, so we have four in favor, one abstention. Okay, motion carries. Thank you, Swati.
Thanks for hearing
Thank
us
you.
out and hope we can take this in the right direction. Thank you.
Okay, so 5B is Holbrook Palmer Park Playground Improvement Project.
Great. Thank you, Chair, members of the committee. I was asked to provide a brief update on where we stand on the park's playground improvements. Following the committee's recommendation, we went to council at a couple of their meetings. The first of which we had the presentation of the committee's recommendation as well as a proposal from the Magical Bridge Foundation. And between the time that they met with you folks and the time we went to council, they actually modified their proposal to cover the full improvement costs of the playground. Following the council's first study session, there were some questions that the council had, and they wanted to have an opportunity to more fully vet the alternatives presented. Following that, the Magical Bridge Foundation withdrew their proposal. And what you have attached to your package is a summary of the feedback received from the city council that flowed through the January 15th council meeting. And so you have some kind of items that they requested that we look into and add to the conventional playground layout. We're still investigating and working on it, but in summary, what we're looking at is an increased budget of about $130,000 plus some additional costs related to additional shade that's requested and the addition of swing benches and a few other things that the council would like to see. After review, the consensus was to retain the sandbox. One of the items that we also need to look into is direction that we received to try and preserve and reuse the train elements that we have in the top playground right now in some fashion. And so we're going to be working with our project manager to kind of reconfigure things. Once that's done, we'll be able to bring kind of that revised layout back to this committee before we finalize the design. Additionally, now that we have direction on the playground, we'll be able to start adding our attention back to the restroom component. And so we had a meeting this past week with the subcommittee to discuss the restroom, and we're looking forward to bringing back a couple of proposals in terms of what that restroom facility might look like back to the committee.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions? Maybe should I give a summary of the bathroom discussion that the subcommittee had?
That's not on the agenda. I think that the subcommittee
Okay.
still has some vetting to do and things that are going to be going on behind the scenes on the restrooms before it comes back.
Okay. I was led to believe I could cover that.
Oh, okay.
If it's, okay, fine. Hopefully we'll be able to cover it in a future meeting. Any questions on this?
Robert, the total budget for the playground is still 1,100,000 or something of that sort?
The counts, so the layout that came through the Park and Rec Committee basically maximized the available budget.
It was 1 million, don't it?
It was, it was a little over $1 million.
Right.
And so the council asked us to add things.
Okay.
And so that's what we're saying.
This is additional to the,
This is
okay.
in addition to
Gotcha.
that.
Okay.
And so the council did that with the understanding that the extras that they requested are going to cost more money and are willing to eventually add that money to the budget as we move towards construction.
Gotcha.
Construction what is our timeline to begin construction? Is it after the summer?
It will be after the summer.
Okay.
I mean, summer construction is impossible because of school construction.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So I was wondering if we had enough time left for
No,
that
we
construction.
still need to kind of take that input and kind of put it into the framework of the playground. So
And are we matching that up with the bathroom schedule?
that's.
Or doesn't
I'm
matter?
going to say that that's to be seen. The bathroom work doesn't necessarily impact the playground directly related to its footprint. There were a couple of items that were outside of the playground area on the other side of the walkway, not really consequential items. Those items may be impacted time-wise based on what's going to be needed for the bathroom. But as
So
far
it could
as
be a different construction firm working on the bathrooms or playground.
we anticipate that it will.
Okay. And then is the train structure that's being added in that expected to take out some apparatus that wanted
We
in
need to figure out how we can retain it.
without removing apparatus, without removing some, so you're putting it in, but you're not taking something out.
So one of my thoughts, and it still needs to be vetted, I don't know how much space it requires, but that stuff is on the ground and may not have fall zone issues.
Yeah.
And so in theory, there may be a way to incorporate it outside of the actual
Okay.
playground. But that's yet to be determined.
Okay.
That actually a consensus item, or was that one council person who said, I like the train?
I think there were more.
I don't
Yeah.
remember that there was any great,
I think
Yeah,
the feedback that we got in general was adding a little more theme-ishness to the playground. And so there was some consensus around
Particularly
that.
items that don't require a fall zone. Because there was some feeling that there was.
Just the front part of the train, right? Not the, there's kind of a tube behind it because it's, yeah,
Yeah,
Just
said
the
we need to
engine
think
part.
about what parts we can
Okay.
actually use and where they might fit.
okay, okay.
And when you say 130,000, are you just adding up these items you've been able to put
Yes.
some number on?
Did you have a question, Frank? Are there any other questions?
One item I just want to clarify, and that is this Willow Hut. Willow Hut, somebody said, I like it going in the library, so why don't we put it in over there? Had put the retreat hut there specifically because after Magical Bridge came, went back to the people planning and we said, please use as much as you can. It's inclusive. That's how we came up with that. We're essentially abandoning what we thought was something that would be inclusive in order to, somebody likes the look of a tent. So I just hope the council realizes that. Going to have a nice Willow Hut right over here. Well,
Then
all I'm saying is Magical Bridge designed it to not have a hut, they have a retreat hut. And it's actually more enclosed, it's for kids to get away from the ways and that's what we looked at in great detail. Okay. Something I hope.
The council has spoken. Are there any other questions? If not, public comment? No public comment? There's nothing for us to approve, right? So we'll just move on to the next topic. Okay, we are on 5C, the Holbrook Palmer Park event flooring. Thank you, Robert. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cherokee.
Just wanted to give a short update of the situation at the park. Myself and Dorothy met a few weeks ago, the subcommittee about, and Frank via email about the floor materials and coloring, matching and everything. I've met with four different installation and they've all recommended the same type of flooring. Initially, we were looking at like a wood flooring in the Jennings Pavilion. They've all recommended because of wear and tear and what we're doing to go with more of an LVP, which is like a luxury vinyl planking flooring in all of the areas. The material that I have, I've got samples with me just so you guys can look at it and see it, see what it is, and if you have any questions or anything, we can let you know. We went over like a little bit of the pricing and everything I went with Dorothy and Frank, kind of let them know what four places are kind of averaging and everything like that. And the work that they would be doing. So right now, this is just to kind of show you guys the material to let you know that everything matched up. Dorothy took some pictures, but I also brought the samples for you guys.
And why did they all recommend the LVP?
It was more of a wear and tear situation. And plank flooring, there's a lot of issues because our area is not level and stuff like that where it wouldn't last as long. All the LVP lasts 15-year warranty and they would be able to float different sections and it's level inside the art room. They're not going to be removing the old flooring, but building on top of it and leveling it out. And the same thing with the Jennings Pavilion. When you come in the doorway, there's kind of like a dip and they'll be able to level that out much easier than you.
The art room would have the same wood flooring as.
It's a different material. It's all going to be LVP.
Okay.
It's just going to be different coloring and a different, the one that for the art room would be more waterproof and a little more scratch resistant than the ones upstairs, but the match, it's all similar material.
Yeah, that'd be good.
So this is the flooring for the art room, the color that Dorothy liked to kind of lighten up the situation down there.
These are the same.
Yeah, that's the same one. Just wanted you guys to be able to see. Yeah.
Looks good.
Yeah.
This is in here, this is.
Yeah, that's gonna be glued down. So they'll be able to. They'll be able to, kind of level out the floor. And be able to put down like a coating and everything like that, and this will go on top of that. And so they'll be able to do that. Brand new baseboards around. Everything will be waterproof and easy to clean for, you know, the tables moving around or anything that spills from the art that they do.
This will do well for any, any imperfect areas. This is gonna,
Yeah, so they'll be able to, when they do the leveling of the floor, all the imperfections and stuff will go away. All those cracks and bumps
this
will
will
be
even be
leveled
better
out.
with it. Yeah, yeah.
And what's the timing on that?
Right now, we're just trying to, got the colors kind of matched out and everything like that. So now we're gonna go back and kind of talk to the contractors and pick out somebody to do it. And then as soon as everything's approved, they said that each area would take about a week to get done. So it all depends on the approval process.
Each area, I mean, each building.
Each building, yeah.
Okay.
So they would do one at a time. They would do the Jennings, they would do the main house upstairs and then the art room, because there will have to be some kind of logistics of moving stuff around.
The floor person that we'll talk to actually did an incredible job of matching the colors back. He's going to be passing around, and this is what it looks like right up against what's existing in the kitchen. And it's the same that matches the woodwork in Jennings Pavilion. It's
So the colors
as
are very
good as you
similar
can
that are
get.
gonna go inside of Jennings Pavilion and the upstairs of the main house. It's a rosewood color. This would match the kind of wood framing that's around the door frames of Jennings Pavilion. And then they will also be putting a new baseboard and everything too.
And so this is Jennings Pavilion and main house, or this is Jennings Pavilion?
This is Jennings Pavilion and yeah, upstairs.
If a section gets damaged, is it easy just replace that small section with this material?
Yeah, these are the wood planking, so they're, they're kind of joined together, so they would be able to remove them and change them out if something gets damaged.
Okay.
Like I said, there's a 15-year warranty on these.
Yeah.
Great. And that's all I have. If there's any questions.
That's good.
Questions?
We're gonna start this tomorrow and be done
That's
next
good.
week.
So in terms of the next step in the process, we'll get a final proposal next month, is that?
Yeah, right now I'm gonna go back with Robert if everything's material's okay and approved by you guys and you guys are happy with the material. I know that Dorothy's happy with the coloring and everything. Then I will move on to narrowing down the contractor and the cost and then just getting pricing approved in the budget. Make sure everything's-
Did we already have this approved in this year's budget?
We have
I think it is.
was that-
Isn't, this is already in, but.
Yeah, this is already in a budget.
Okay.
Just to make sure.
So as long as it's within that cost,
Budget.
okay, we should be able to just proceed. Okay. I didn't have any other questions. How about you guys? No? Do you need a vote from us, or I think the consensus is everyone's
Yeah,
happy?
if everybody's happy with the material and they're okay with the situation.
Okay. Any public comment? Seeing none, I think we're good. Okay. Thank you, Will. Then we'll go on to 5D, the Brightview Quality Site Assessment.
Brightview, quality assessment month is packet. You guys. have any questions?
I just want to make a thank you comment to, I don't know if it's Brightview or the town in general. There was no flooding with all that rain yesterday. No standing water, nothing.
Is that true in the event garden also?
She wasn't underwater.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Historically, that's been a
Lowest
wet spot,
I know.
bad.
With the
Didn't know that
project
it
that
got
we
that
finished
deep,
up
right?
last year, we were able. I mean, that's by your door.
I didn't even panic when I just let it rain for 5 hours straight. I did not panic when it was on the fifth hour of straight, just rain, I went, that drain's gonna work. I know it, it's all cleaned out. So I just wanted you to know that, and I wanted the park to know, the park and rec people to know that, it is working just fine and dandy.
Great, great. Okay, any questions or comments? Any public comment? Seeing none, on to not 5, 6. Why don't we do 6A? Frank?
Well, if you look at your email, I emailed you a picture of the benches that we were wondering about. I don't know if you can bring that up here now. But one of our members, Brooks Esser, pointed out that the metal benches, the filigreed metal benches, a couple of them look like they're beginning to show some wear and as in maybe coming apart. So he wondered if it looks like somebody's moved them and they're not the kind of thing that should be moved. It doesn't look like. So we were wondering if there had been a more of a prescribed area they're going to be, and if we can count on them being there, we'll fix them. The park foundation will fix them. But we were wondering what the status is as far as do they move or should they be in one place? The other thing is that, again, to repeat, April 1 is the date. We think we'll begin the process of rebuilding the fountain as soon as it warms up. Could be a little earlier, but needs to be 70 plus degrees, pretty much steady, so that he can bond the epoxy resin to the metal in his warehouse. So we're hoping to be done with that in a month of April. Beyond that, Walt, do you have anything else we need to bring up? Yeah, I didn't.
Will, has there been any update on a sign at the parking lot going into the art room saying no, no exit here? There were 2 this week. I mean,
Yeah.
every week there's probably one that drives in, then they have to carefully back out because there's no sign or just painting, something, no exit or
That
something
points
there.
toward the exit.
Hmm?
Or a sign that just points toward the exit.
No,
The
no,
exit's on
because
the other side.
they're in the parking lot. And what happens is they're looking over their steering wheel and they see a path going one way and a path going another way. And they cannot discern with their vision that those are not roads that go to an exit point.
Oh.
They are walking paths. And so they get kind of stuck there. And I had to go out more than once to direct them how to turn around and exit, and a sign that says no exit, or because you don't want to curb, because that's where the power mowers and the golf carts and stuff go, but a sign that just says stop, no exit or something, because some of these people don't see real well.
Yeah, I'll look into that some more. It hasn't been discussed, but.
In fact, I was with a lady today. She wanted to show me her new car. And she goes, oh, can't we just go out that way? And I said, no. And she's a resident and has been around the block here. They just don't think.
Okay, anything else on the Park Foundation? Okay, thank you, Frank. 6B and 6C?
The monthly report and inside your packets, you have. As far as park, we did some little bit of work throughout the park. We did some, the baseball season's coming up. We're gonna be installing the fence on February 14th. We did some power washing of the baseball stands. Also in the works, it's inside the budget right now for this year about painting the grandstand area. So I'm working with a couple of different companies to get some proposals for that. We did some light repair inside of the play school. We also did a little bit of, they had some issues with their heat pump and we got that repaired. The playground itself, we had a couple of the swings that were falling apart, and we're working at replacing the playground, but they started becoming a safety issue. So we replaced not only the regular swings, the rubber pieces, but the other swings too. So everything matched up. We've been doing a lot of trash removal from the park and making sure that sandbag stations full for our residents. Working close with the arborists. Placards. So the town, we're almost done with that, about 85%. As far as the numbers, you can see the tennis numbers are in there. Event wise, it was a very slow month. Have many events, just mostly either picnics or small things, one day passes, no day, and then.
Yeah, the pickleball usage was almost the highest that kind of ever been.
Yeah.
So, and January is typically not a,
Well, they're able to go at additional hours.
Yeah.
now. So
It's true.
that
but
reflects.
January is usually a kind of winter month. People don't.
True, but there was no rain in
true.
January and they had expanded hours.
It's true. And it'll be interesting to know next month in terms of the keys being purchased, where we are.
The locks are gonna be, the keys are on sale now. The locks will be changed on the 17th.
And how are we doing with the event planner? New RFP out or?
Not right now. Everything right now is running through. Michael's helping out with most of the stuff. If there is people out there, myself or him goes out, so main house, Jenny. There hasn't been a lot of calls or interest right now. This is usually the low time because it's colder weather, so there's no big events right now.
Okay. Any other questions?
Get on websites and things, these wedding websites and stuff like that. Are we just hampered in that because we don't have a real event?
Yeah, that's a part of it. There's no big push or any kind of an advertising right now for it. We just don't have the manpower to do it. So right now, just kind of like I said, needs basis, people contacting us or regular customers that do their events at the place.
I think the problem also is there's nobody to say, I just used it, great. Last 2 years anyway, really since COVID, we've been at zero over there.
I'm hoping with the improvements we're making at the facilities and, hopefully getting a, event planner that's full-time or somebody to take over that, will pick up, once we get into the right avenue.
If someone buys a key tomorrow, say, as an example, they have to wait until 17th.
I think they can get them now.
They can get the keys now, but they can get the keys.
They have to
now, but
wait.
The 17th, there will be rekey for the new. For a lot of people that are coming, already have their keys and then they're just re-upping
Right.
next year, so.
I might get one. I was just curious. Thank you.
Okay, why don't we move on to 6D? Any individual committee member comments?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Remember when we were talking about the signage in the park and trying to consolidate and remove the unnecessary ones, and we were looking at the entrance and the exit? Can somebody, because I, missed a meeting or two last year, but is that still anywhere? Is that sort of a dead thing? Does that need to be revisited?
I think it's wait for you and me.
A lot was done.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were some
The
improvements.
front and the
But-
front entrance and the exit has fewer signs than I remember it.
Way fewer.
Yeah.
Right, but like this front gate has, I don't know, this is just another area that I thought maybe we could try to clean up a little and not have so much that are on those front
Right.
gates. Plus that one looks like it needs to be cleaned or replaced. So I don't know, do you
Um,
revisit, discuss? Okay,
Yeah,
Sure.
Just let Bill and I know you want it on, which month you want it on the agenda and put it on to discuss.
thank you.
Problem. And I think next month we'll be talking about CIP projects. So start thinking about what you want to propose for the next fiscal year that council consider to fund. And we'll talk amongst ourselves and figure out what to prioritize and next month. Frank, did you have something you want to say? No? Okay. Are there any other member comments? Not, we will confirm the next meeting, March
Fifth?
5th, yes, 6:30. Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I think I will be fleeing the country and going to watch rugby in the UK on the 4th, so I'll miss that meeting, I believe.
Okay.
So,
Well, hopefully we'll still have at least 4 members.
Hopefully you'll have a good rugby game to see.
yeah, we're going to Scotland, big Twickenham in London, and then to Paris.
On.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Okay.